singers come through. If Bob Dylan and Gene Simmons and Jimi Hendrix auditioned for The Voice, oh, it's about time, this is that, you think we'd make it?
Looking forward to another good bashing of rock camp.
I've reconnected with my joy of playing.
Better than stamp collecting.
When you watch just the trailer, you think, what is happening? Is this something new? Is this fiction? To me, it seemed like this is too good to be true, that you would actually have all these mega rock stars together. But David, I'm going to start back from the beginning. You actually started this fantasy camp back in 1996 for the people that are living under the rock. Will you roll it away? You see what I did there? Yeah, I got him. Explain what the camp is first, and then we'll get to the movie.
Welcome to Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
It was really a place where I created where people could come and jam and actually perform with their favorite artists. People think that's what it's about. They get to come and they have their greatest experience. For me, it's a process that puts them through a life-changing experience, that they're going to find happiness in their lives. They go on, take their musical knowledge, be in a band, write songs. And, a guy yesterday emailed me and he said, David, you took my fear away from me. I'm ready to start getting on the stage. That's what I love, yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned with their favorite rock stars, the who's who, everybody, including Sebastian. I know you serve as a camp counselor, and being one of the greatest frontmen in the history of frontmen. Can you imagine, had you had something like this when you started in music as an 8-year-old little boy?
When I was a kid, rock stars were like gods. You couldn't buy a VIP meet and greet ticket, like to go hang out with AC/DC. Or Roger Daltrey. Or Van Halen. There was also a line in the song The Who, I hope I die before I get old. But I think that they're glad they didn't. As rockers get older, a lot of these rock fans are like heads of industry. A couple years ago, I went to Elon Musk's house for his birthday, and he was freaked out about me being there. And I'm like, he's like, thank you so much for coming. And I'm like, dude, you invented like time travel. And he's like, when I go to his house, he's excited for me. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is kind of like another level of like a VIP meet and greet, where you actually get to go on stage with the band and play. Which is incredible for me too, because the last one I did, David teamed me up with Judas Priest, and we actually did a show at the Whiskey A Go-Go, and the fans got to come up with me and Rob Halford with a full audience and do a real show. That's better than a meet and greet.
It is. I mean, it's almost like, how is this even possible? It's like dreams do really come true. But you know what I thought was really neat watching the movie? It's not just teenage boys coming to these camps. It's middle-aged women vice presidents of financial companies.
Wife, mom, boss. That's sort of my mantra. As much as I love my job, I don't think it defines me. I love playing drums.
The craziest combination of people, and it just goes to show you that we all have another level to us.
I think the people that come to this camp are in high school bands, college bands, or just starting to pick up the instrument. And unlike Sebastian, who went for his career, these people wanted to go, but they got married, they got pregnant, or their mothers told them you got to finish college, you get a real job. And inside, they're burning. Joe Perry said a great line. He said to a guy one day, he said, what do you do for a living? The guy says, I'm a lawyer, and on weekends I play with my band. And Joe turned to me and says, you're full of crap. You're a musician first. And you do all that legal stuff to pay for your guitars. A musician's a musician.
Rock and roll conquers all, man.
In my eyes, there's very few things that are universal. universal, but seeing all walks of life come together through music is so powerful.
It's as much to me about family as anything else, because rock and roll is a rite of passage, like for 14-year-old boys ready to take on the world. It's always been like that. And when I watch Rock Camp the movie, I'm struck by the dads that bring their kids who are into it just as much as them.
Blake, at a very young age, between, let's say 3 or 4, he was diagnosed with autism. He didn't really start talking until age 5. I mean, he wouldn't say anything. You look for something to make your child happy. At age 10, he said, I want to start taking guitar lessons. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to bring him out to Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. I said, let's just try it and see what it'll do.
When I was a kid, I bought Iron Maiden Killers album when it came out in 1982. Then when my kid turned 13, he had the same poster on the wall. And now my daughter is 13 and she's got the same t-shirt. Like, talk about branding. I mean, generations of Iron Maiden, and it's like a creepy monster, but it's like when you turn 14, there's certain albums you have to become familiar with, like Back in Black, Led Zeppelin 2, The Who. There's lots of these albums, and it doesn't go away. It's like when you turn that age, you want to grab a guitar and fire it up. The excitement of rock and roll, it travels through generations for sure.
It is an unmatched energy. I have to tell you a quick story, and you just reminded me. Yesterday, I have a 6-year-old little girl.
Yeah.
Her name's Maddox Kate, and she was in the back seat. And she said, "Mommy, do you want to know what I do at school?" And it's so much fun, and everybody thinks it's so cool. And I was like, "What do you do?" And she goes, "I do this." And I go, "Do you get in trouble?" And she goes, "Well, sometimes." And I'm like, teacher just needs to let her have a good time. But it just goes to show you there's that energy that is just, it's electric.
Come here, say hi, Trace. Trace. Yeah. This is Trace.
Hey,
Hey,
buddy.
rock and roll, dude? Yeah. Ah, see? He's Kevin.
Oh,
So how many kids do you like? Okay, wrong answer. What's your daughter's name?
Maddox.
Maddox. You know what Maddox does? She does this.
I imagine that a lot of people look at this camp from the camper's point of view, like this is so neat to be amongst the greatest. But I imagine it's super rewarding for all of you rock stars as well.
For me to get up and play with people who have that kind of exuberance and energy, it's really a gift to me as much as to anybody else.
It's a fun experience to jam with somebody that's never jammed, and they're all excited, and it kind of reminds you of when you first got into it. Cincinnati, under the lights, we're gonna rock the night away. After I did 1 or 2 of the camps, I'm on a British Airways flight, and I pick up the magazine of British Airways, and it's me on the cover and I'm like, look everybody on the plane.
To get Roger Daltrey to do the camp, I flew to England. I want to talk about doing this camp. And the whole body kept saying, "Oh, you should do a camp, you know, with a British accent." He said, "You should get the Village People, the Thompson Twins." And I said, No. I said, "This is a rock camp." And he thought of the word camping. In England, camping.
Yeah.
And I turned to him and I said, "Who would you want to jam with? Who's your favorite person if you could jam?" He says, "You introduce me, I'll leave on Helm, and I'll do your camp." You know, so everybody has their favorite.
Right before the pandemic, like weeks before we shut down, I did a cruise with Roger Daltrey, and we talked about E. David, and it was his 73rd birthday. And he put his birthday cake in my face. The Who have always been known as the original wild rock guys, and I'm happy to say, at the age of 73, nothing has changed.
Which I feel is the common theme, with you guys. You'll just never lose it. noticed just in the very short time of knowing you that, great people shed light on other great people, and you're constantly, putting the light back on Sebastian, but you're a legend in your own right.
Whether he's producing a tour, assembling an all-star band, or writing a best-selling book, there's one thing David Fishoff is always doing, and that's dreaming. Hailed as one of the most creative and innovative entertainment producers in the world, and continues to make dreams come true.
What do you hope people get from watching the movie?
I have one big hope that people will watch this film and they will be able to do whatever they want to do in their life and not let fear get in their way. So if you want to create an app, you want to be in a band, you want to learn an instrument, you want to write a book, whatever you want to do in your life, when you watch this film, these people, they're achieving their dreams through music. But I'm hoping that people will take this film and motivate them, and that's what I'm hearing back from people. So that's really what I love. I'm really into changing lives through the power of music, and it's really not about me. It's really about Sebastian. It's about the campers.
Rock Camper is a little bit like self-realization because you are finding yourself to be able to give the campers a magical experience that we never forget. And draw my experiences to be able to do that is a pretty deep thing. It really is. It's beautiful.
Music is magical. I think all the arts are magical. Just gotta be chill because music is indelibly a part of who I am. I think in the year 2020, obviously it was the worst year any of us ever had. But I have a whole room full of vinyl records here, okay, like vinyl and CDs and top to floor, and music became so valuable to me in this time. Well, not like it wasn't before, but just to remind you of the good times and the fun that's possible. It's true, rock and roll does keep you young. I don't know how to explain it, but I think it's the spirit. When you hang out with a guy like Roger Daltrey or Alice Cooper, who's probably 80 or 90, I don't know how old he is, but his spirit is young and fun, and I think people that forget to enjoy life get prematurely grumpy and bummed out. And that doesn't happen if you're singing, people try to put us down, talking about it's just fun, man.
Go to a store and start learning chords and everything, and you'll find a lot of happiness in your life.
Wasn't it true though that Guitar Center was gonna close before the pandemic? Then everybody was stuck at home and everybody bought guitars and they're back. Yeah, you can't stop rock and roll.
Well, I cannot thank you both enough for spending. I literally haven't stopped smiling, like my face hurts. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us today and sporting your Houston shirts. And David, you said you're from Galveston. So this is how we're gonna end the interview, okay, guys? Let's all do like a Maddox, okay? Ready?